Ladies and gentlemen, it's great to be here. Welcome to the sexiest football podcast this side of the Swan River, and also it's footy from all angles. Boys, it's Barely Touched Him, episode 23. I am joined by the effervescent Corey Daffin.
Hello.
And the also effervescent Joel Brinnick. Can you tell I haven't thought of an intro this week? That's the only adjective I could think of is effervescent. How are we, lads?
Yeah, good yourself?
Yeah, good.
Very good. I had a quiet weekend of just watching football.
Yeah, I was the opposite. I had to catch up a lot today because I had a very busy weekend. I did the Barbenheimer double.
Yep.
And so I missed a lot of Saturday because I spent literally the entirety of 12 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Yep. Now,
doing the meme.
I haven't seen Oppenheimer, but I have seen Barbie. Thoughts on Barbie?
Loved it.
Same.
Absolutely loved it.
Fucking
Ryan
loved it.
Gosling should win Best Supporting Actor.
That's
he
exactly what I
did
think.
not phone it in at all. Just killed it. Absolutely killed every second of it. And the choreo, not to put any spoilers out there for people wanting to see Barbie, there is a choreographed
the dance scene.
dance fight at the end of the film.
Very good.
Hardest I've laughed in the cinema in a very long time.
I was laughing the entire time. I couldn't believe it. We
good.
walked out of there, and because Chloe was pretty quiet the whole movie, and I was pissed myself.
Yep.
I was like, didn't you like it? She's like, no, I liked it. You just liked it a lot more than I did.
Yeah, it's for the boys. It really is for the boys. Anyway, the football did happen, and football news happened also.
Lots.
Obviously, the biggest story this week in the Australian football world, the legend Buddy Franklin has retired.
Yes.
Effective because of his calf injury immediately. And one of the greats of our lives, one of the greats of the game is he's hung up the boots. Your thoughts on Buddy? Let's start with you, Joel. What comes to your mind when you think of Lance Buddy Franklin?
I think everyone just remembers that 1,000th goal being kicked and
that was
everyone
good.
running on like they did. Like I remember I was sitting there with Corey.
We were at the pub together, and I'm like have never really been a big fan of Buddy, but I was hyped. I was so fucking hyped.
Just watching, and he doesn't like the limelight. We
Yep.
saw what he didn't want to do an interview when he did retire, but he lapped that up that moment and realised how special it was for the league. And hopefully he does come back on grand final day and do a lap of honour and
Oh, for sure.
at least let the fans say one final goodbye, because the way he went out obviously is not what you want for a champion.
Yeah, it's it does suck when you don't get the proper "this is my send-off" game and you can't line it up.
This is the thing. Like I pitched it. We talked about it a few times during the year. I've said that he should have announced his retirement. Sydney should have announced his retirement at the start of the year, and then every game they would have had every Sydney game would have had way more people coming because it would be their last time to see him.
Well,
I agree.
They
And
did
now
know
they don't have that.
They
Well,
knew it.
I think he would have known that this was it. I don't think he. Well, you can only speculate.
How old is he? 37?
36 or 7.
Yeah, he'd be pushing 37.
But his
and
CV is just insane. Like, he's got 2 flags. He's got 8 All-Australians. I think 6 Colemans. All his best and fairest as well. Like,
Yep. Well, I remember
He's the only player to kick 5 goals against 18 teams.
every single team.
Yep.
I remember, I think it was Sean Burgoyne. In fact, it was Sean Burgoyne. They were interviewing one year for the Brownlow coverage. This was a few years back.
Yep.
And Burgoyne's played a lot of footy, 300 plus games, absolute legend of both clubs, seen every single good player you could imagine in his era in the flesh and played on them. They asked Sean Burgoyne who are the best players that you've seen and played on in the AFL. He said Gaz Jr. and Buddy Franklin. And that's, I think, pretty, Like
He did have
pretty
that
spot on.
electric quality that not many, or if any, other players possess.
Yep.
Running along that wing in that pocket like he did.
And it was the modern key forward, kicking 1,000 goals in his career and 100 goals in a season in an era with flooded defences and with zones and defensive shapes that are designed and succeed usually at stopping forwards from getting to the football and stopping them from getting space.
did you see the little graphic they had up on Fox Footy of like the adjusted goals per, I guess you say, error?
Yeah, I did
I
see
saw
that.
that, and it pushed it up to like 1200.
Yeah, it's like adjusted for error. I don't know exactly.
love that.
I don't love that either.
I don't love
No, but it definitely, he does come closer to Lockett than what his original final goal
Yes,
tally
but
will
also
be.
that's like I do agree that his goals have more weight because of the era that he's played in.
Yep.
But also on that list is Gordon Coventry, and there's no footage of Gordon Coventry playing,
No.
so you can't really determine how Gordon
But
Coventry would have gone.
It's a net win for Sydney.
Oh, for sure.
Because
for
they can reduce their employment numbers by about 3 now because there's 3 people that apply grease to Buddy Franklin every game.
Yes.
So they can get rid of them.
You got a lady daughter.
Have you got any grease?
Yes, we do.
Then grease me up, woman.
Corey's gone very heavy on the sound effects this week, and what a cameo there from
I mean,
Grant.
he is pretty greasy.
He's
isn't
a
he?
very greasy man. He's a very greasy man.
You've got the twin towers of greasiness in Tom Hawkins and Buddy Franklin.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other greasy players from my lifetime. Ben Cousins, of
Ben
course.
Cousins was very
he was
greasy.
a very greasy
Very
player.
greasy
Yeah,
boy.
because he was sweating out
a
everything.
lot
he
of
did
that
every
Greasy on and
week.
off the field.
Greasy on and off the field. A lot of that Eagles lineup loved the
they
grease.
did
I
love the
remember
grease.
Michael Braun. If you looked at Michael Braun's pipes and Chad Fletcher's pipes during a game, that's a lot of lard that they've chucked onto those pipes. Another retirement one that is going to fly under the radar in comparison to Buddy,
Nice.
Shannon Hearn.
Oh, yes.
Shannon Hearn has
Yes.
retired today. One of, if not the best mid-sized defender of his generation.
Now, should we just talk about Shannon for a minute?
Yes.
What's in terms of Buddy, there was the game where he absolutely flattened Buddy. Have you seen footage of that?
Of Shannon Hearn laying him out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's very good.
very good. And for them to both retire in the same week is fantastic. I've been seeing that clip flying around a lot, which is great.
Well, like Shannon Hearn, even though he's only 6 foot odd, he's always been so thick. Even coming in to the league
Extraordinarily
in his
thick.
first season, he had like a 65-meter drop punt on him, and they were playing him as a forward, and they didn't really know where to play him. And then he just settled into that role as, I'll take the kickouts and whatever forward you want to throw me on. And even in my... I've always loved him. I've always loved Shannon Hearn. Even in my hatred for the Eagles after the 2018 grand final,
Yes.
couldn't hate Herney. You can't do it.
There's one thing about Hearn which is very funny. He's always looked about 40 years old.
Even when he was 18, he looked
Yeah.
47.
Yeah.
And he doesn't look like he's in our current time. It looks like he could be...
Isn't he only like 32 or 33 years old
I think
now?
he's 33, 34. He's
is
one of the
that
older
is-
guys in the
that
league.
is
He
incredible.
looks 10 years older, but a handsome 44 is what
Yeah.
he looks like. He
Yeah.
looks very good. Either way, he had a blinder on the weekend, though. We'll get to that perhaps when we get into
Yes.
the footy results. The other big key news item that I would like your boys' input on is yet another Port Adelaide concussion gate. We've had the clash of heads between Lockie Jones and Alira Lear.
It was very sickening.
Very sickening impact where Aaliyah looked knocked out off of not only the impact of the head clash, but
He went limp immediately.
hitting the ground as well was an awkward bump.
By the time he hit the ground, he was out. Like he was
Lockie
limp.
Jones was holding his head
Yeah.
after it. And you guys watched the game live. I did not.
did,
Can
yeah.
you talk me through? You watched it. How did it make you feel watching it?
Well, I watched it with several people. There's about 8 or 9 people watching it at that point, and everyone was like, "Oh, he's gone.
Yep.
he's out.
Done.
He's done."
HIA concussion.
And yeah, I think it was 6.5 minutes later, he strolls back on. Everyone's like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah,
And
not-
we didn't have the commentary on either because we had cricket on another TV and everything. So
Yep.
it was silent. And we were all looking at each other. Like, what the fuck is happening?
How are they doing this?
He's gone, right? He's gone. He's definitely gone. But yeah, and as it turns out, they shirk the what's it called?
The SCAT test.
which
This-
is
I don't know what that
needs
stands
to
for.
be renamed.
Because SCAT is poo.
It is poo.
SCAT is poo,
That
and
is
we don't
poo.
want to be doing. It sounds like they're doing a stool test of Alira Lear to see if he's concussed. But looking at this angle, we can see he's fucked.
From all angles.
All angles. I think this Port Adelaide doctor has royally fucked it.
Yeah, because
It
there's
is-
been cases in the past few years.
There was
several.
There was almost. Well, I don't know about several, but there was an identical seeming one where it was a head clash between 2 players. It was Tom Jonas and Zach Butters.
Yes.
And they both came back out onto the ground as well. And when you're dealing with concussion stuff, the general rule, I feel like, for the AFL over the past 3 years has been better to be safe than sorry.
Yes.
Get them out of the game. Because even today, Max Lynch, former ruckman for Collingwood and Hawthorn, had to retire early at 24 due to concussion issues.
On doctor's orders.
On doctor's orders because he had too many issues with concussions. You look at Paddy McCartan, you look at Dan Venables, guys like this. This comes from head knocks not getting taken
There's
seriously.
over 20 court cases going at the moment, like the whole class action against the AFL. They can't afford to have instances like this that look really fucking bad.
I think that's exactly why the AFL probably will and should come down.
They've
Port.
already enforced Port to enact the concussion protocol because they weren't going to do it.
No, well, they're not playing this week. That's come out.
That's the AFL telling Port to do that after the fact.
Yeah, neither of them are. They've both been ruled out as they rightly should be.
And I don't know anything about this guy who is the doctor, but
He's been there for 20 years.
that's that's before concussion awareness really hit the game. So I don't want to stereotype this guy as an old boy who says, "Oh, go on, we got to get the win." But that's exactly what I'm going to do. I can't think of any other reason why everyone watching it would say, "Oh dear God, get him off and concussion test him just to be
100%.
safe," except the doctor whose job it is to do this, and he fucks it.
Well,
And-
I looked at the actual bylaws. There's a list of stipulations of when you need it. If a player appears to be unconscious, for anything over a 1 second or something, that's one of the
That's done.
stipulations.
Yep.
You're done. If they're horizontal, if they're unresponsive, you're done. Which he was.
He absolutely was.
He was
He absolutely.
knocked out.
It was clear
cold.
as day. It was clear as day. Anyway, let's get into the results, boys. We could harp on about concussions being real all day, which they
Yes.
are. They are real. You got to take these things seriously. You got the results there, Jolie. What was the first game?
Alrighty, so Friday night, you boys would have seen this and paid a lot of attention.
I
but
did. I
Carlton
did.
Getting up on Collingwood by 17 points.
Yes.
Not mad at this at all, and
No.
Carlton deserved the win thoroughly. And
The Blues locked it forward.
yeah,
They
and-
locked it forward.
You guys had your chances. You kicked shit.
Yes, but it wasn't just Collingwood's inaccuracy that cost us the game. It was the ground ball. I thought that Carlton were really swarming on.
Yep.
It was
Intense.
very similar to the way that Brisbane beat us and Melbourne beat us. If we don't win in those contested, tight phone booth contests, it's very hard for us to enact our game style. And we gave it a crack, but Carlton were just deadly, and Curnow was absolutely deadly. Best on ground.
Some very funny footage of little Nicky Dacos being slightly selfish on a couple of occasions and
Yes.
missing, which I think he'll get lit up a bit by the boys through the week.
Yeah.
I don't think he even needed to. The disappointment on his face when he didn't hand it off to three people that were standing there and then missed a goal. He was like, "Oh shit!"
But if you nick Dacos, that's the mentality
You
you
gotta
got to
take it.
have.
You gotta
You got
take
to
it. You
you
gotta
got to
take
do it. You got to do it.
And look, mate, does the Collingwood blueprint need a little tweaking, possibly? And this is the best time to take a loss. You get 2 games clear anyway.
Yeah, we're top of the ladder anyway.
Good.
Top of the ladder anyway. You got anything for this game, Joel?
Looking through some of the comment sections for Carlton supporter pages, you would think they've won the grand final.
Oh, they're up and about.
It is
They're up and about. The same people who were calling to sack Vossi 6 weeks ago.
So one thing with Curnow, did you guys hear about Mark Robinson having some comments on Gary Lyon?
No, our favourite man, Robbo.
Our favourite
What
man,
did he
Robbo.
say? What did he
So
say?
He's had a crack at Gary Lyon on his show on that Monday night. What's it called again? The Couch.
360.
On the couch. On the couch. Yes,
so
yes.
they talked about Curnow for about 13 minutes, and right at the end, Gary chucks in, the time he kicked 7 or whatever.
Yeah.
Just a little, personal thing about himself to pump himself up.
Oh, Gary! The time Gary kicked 7.
Yeah, give a
okay,
bit of a laugh.
Yep.
And
Yes.
then Robbo put out a column the next day, roasting.
He put out a whole column about it.
What? Absolutely ripping apart Gary Lyon about
This-
commentators who need to learn to talk about the game and not their own.
Oh, jeez.
personal
Oh,
things.
mate, I am with Robbo on this
No,
one.
fuck
I
off.
absolutely love that. Look,
right
it's
off.
only because I'm suffering from Gary Lyon overload. It's
Yeah.
He made
so
one
often.
fucking comment.
No, this is not just the comment.
That couple of years where he took a
Was
break.
this petty from Robbo? Absolutely. But when it's
Absolutely
targeting Gary
petty.
Lyon, I am so sick of Gary Lyon being the lead host on Fox Footy coverage when he's
very
not
smug.
a very good host. host. I'm sorry. He seems like he's constantly behind the script and just flustered, and he doesn't know what he's doing. It's like the camera cuts to him. And we're back. Oh God, what are we doing here? And no, he's just behind.
Yeah, head knocks. We were just talking about head knocks before, weren't we?
You compare Hutto hosting to Gary Lyon hosting. It's night and day. So get into him, Robbo. All angles. Next game, Joel. Next game. I'll read that column.
Definitely shocked us a bit, but the Cats going down to Freo at the Cattery by 7
Yeah,
points.
I thought this was
my game of the round, to be honest.
I thought this was take it to the fucking bank. There's no way Freo are winning this
was
game.
unreal.
Talk us through it. What did you like?
Well, Freo's midfield, it's not like it's a surprise because we have seen them do it, and it is an elite midfield list. They were turning it on and just running it through. At times, it looked like the way Collingwood does it.
Yes,
It was
run,
fucking
carry, transition.
Real. And King Freddie was. He's the walking highlight reel at this point.
Yes.
Unbelievable. He kicked a Gary Ablett-like goal from the pocket, which was just running away from the goal, deep into the pocket, slammed it on the boot, and it goes through. All the other players had their hands up. What the did that go in?
To go to GMHBA, and they have got history of famous victories at GMHBA.
Yes.
If you remember the flag tilt of 2013, they won a huge final there. Maybe they're not going to win finals this year, but vibes when Freo win away at Geelong.
Yeah.
Big vibes.
I think the key player was Hayden Young shutting down Paddy Dangerfield and racking up 20 of his own disposals at the same time, which was unreal.
Very handy player. Hayden
Huge
Young.
outs for Geelong with Blitzarves and Hawkins, which is, you'd have to say that's them done. Because
Yes.
they were on the line, on the bottom edge of the line to push, and they were looking very dangerous, but last week they didn't look so hot, and this week Blitzarves and Hawkins out, they're done.
Yep. Joel, any notes that you had on this game?
Yeah, well, Blitzard's obviously going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks, so you'd expect, unless they're going to play in the grand final, that he's done for the year.
Yep.
Hawkins, they're looking about 2 to 3, and with his body, you'd expect possibly longer.
Yep. So Jezza needs to turn it on if they're going to compete.
They've got 4 games left.
Yep.
And realistically, there's a big chance they could miss the 8 right now.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
a lot of their matches are against teams in that top 8.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's no fucking up from here.
Yeah, they've got to be dead perfect. Next game?
Next game, we've got the Q Clash.
The
no,
Q Clash.
actually, we don't. Premature
Q Clash.
Yeah, Bulldogs.
It was hype though.
Yeah, Bulldogs GWS.
I did watch this one
Ballarat.
live. I was at the pub at the Belmont Tavern, and I had it on mute, so I didn't see how hype the commentators were getting. I was.
It's probably better because it was Kelly Underwood.
I was. Hey, shout out, Kel. I know you're trying.
She always gets the orange team.
Yeah, she always gets the orange team games. Was Derm on there as well? I love a bit of Derm Kelly.
I don't think it was
combo.
Derm. I think it was Kingy and Kelly Underwood, or maybe Dwayne Russell.
Dwayne.
and
I
Kelly.
love Dwayne.
Yeah.
Either way, I could tell immediately rocking up to the pub. I'm like, all right, that's right. This game's at Mars Stadium. What a shithole. And it was looking like a shithole Mars Stadium
It
doggies
was
win.
bad. The commentators were talking about it constantly.
Yeah.
About how bad the one side of the ground was to the other.
Yep.
Actually, it was Lee Montagna.
Joey loves to have a crack.
Before the game, Bevo actually alluded to the fact that one side of the ground was the dead zone.
They call it the dead zone. Stop having games there. Stop having games there.
One side of the ground, if the ball goes there, it's just stoppage after stoppage after stoppage after stoppage.
That's
It's
like
unreal.
local footy.
Yeah.
Occasionally you'll come across a ground. I actually, Lightning Park in Naranda, the one on Reed Highway, there is absolute shithole for this. I feel like every game I've played there, the wind hits that ground in a certain way where the fat side is just not touched because it's just going to be log jammed.
Yep.
And that can't be happening at AFL standard. Either way, what a win by the Giants.
Yeah, well, I think this game was fought and won by Toby Green. Mm-hmm. Toby Green alone was the deciding factor there. The Dogs' defence is just shocking. It's bad.
Absolutely shocking.
It's
and
bad. Toby
Bevo,
Green, electric.
our Lord and Saviour David King had a bit of a crack at Bevo on SEN today, saying he didn't move the magnets around enough in response to GWS storming home in that last quarter.
Yeah, well,
like
King
that
is
was
staunch on putting Norton back.
And I fucking agree with him. I agree. Like, if you need an intercept marker, then Norton is your guy to chuck as a loose.
Yeah,
Start him in the forward line and have him run back. Have him run back from the centre bounce.
Especially now that Hugo Hagen has proved himself as that lead up forward.
Yeah.
And Norton has been a bit iffy with the marks. Just slam him back.
Yeah,
Fucking slam him
absolutely.
back.
You got anything, any notes on this one, Joel?
Yeah, so Bruce looks like his career's done. Josh Bruce.
Yeah, ACL was it?
It's his ACL on his
Yeah.
other legs. This is
That's no
second
good.
ACL in not too many years.
That sucks for Brucey.
You think 12 months, he's 32 now, out of contract.
Yeah.
And apparently it's meniscus as well, so he's basically ruled out for all of next year as well, if he was to play on.
And this stint with the Dogs was like a last chance draw anyway, wasn't it?
It really was.
Like, he
and
wasn't doing great before that. It was another
He
lease
will
on loan.
always have the bag of 10 he kicked on Good Friday.
Yeah, that
always.
was amazing.
The reason that game is not Bulldogs and North anymore is because he kicked 10 and obliterated them. So that you can't take that away from
So
you,
we've
Brucey.
also got Alex Keith, who's out injured as well.
Yeah.
Concussion.
Doggies, like, it's not
They
looking
can
good
miss-
for the
They're not
Dogs.
looking
It's
good,
really
man.
not looking good.
See, they can either fire it up or let Bontempelli put the whole team on their back. But the one thing that Bontempelli can't do is be a defender.
Yeah, Bevo needs to have an all-time spray. He needs to do the old school lock-in, I reckon, at the club.
Yep.
Lock him with the team.
Well, lock into the Bulldogs means getting on the pingers and blacking out the windows.
That's right. And that can be bonding. That can be team building for a team with the right coach
Well, if you
and the
listen
right pingers.
to the reports, there's apparently a big divide at the Doggies.
Oh, what
Really?
reports have you heard,
Well, this
Joel?
is based off what Dunkley has said to other teammates.
Get
at the
out of
Lions.
here.
Okay.
I
That-
wonder what factions are at play.
Well, apparently there's basically two groups at the Doggies, and players that are in Bevo's little group and players that aren't.
Okay.
That's not good when you have groups forming, when you have factions forming. You know where that doesn't happen? The Pies. No groups at the
We
Pies.
love each other at the Pies.
Everybody love everybody.
And Toby Green, is he a chance for the Brownlow?
No.
No, but he could make top 5. I think he could make
He'll
top
be
5
all
in the count.
Australian without a doubt.
Oh,
but
lock him in. Lock him in. He could
Brownlow-
be all-Australian captain.
Captain.
He could be all-Australian captain.
I think Brownlow, it's well and truly locked up at this point.
It is, yeah. No, it's a one-horse race for the Brownlow.
I think, and honestly, Nick Dacos could probably not play.
And still win. Yes, agreed. Next game, Joel.
Next game, this was a cute clash. So Gold Coast absolutely flogging
What
Brisbane by
in
3 points.
the fuck?
I had the best time. I had the best time watching this. I was so stoked.
Yeah.
I was so
Your
stoked.
boy. We'll get to this in Adopt Your
mate.
Boy, but Corey's boy, Sammy
Mate,
Flanders,
He topped the disposal chart again.
he could have won the medal. He could have won the medal.
He's topped the disposal chart in every game the last 4 weeks. I think he came second once.
It's a sight to behold.
It is unreal. And Touk Miller, it was him that really did it. They took Neil out of the fucking game. I think it was a directive from Stephen King, because when you were watching the footage, anytime a player, didn't matter who it was, went near Lockie Neal, they were shoving an elbow in,
Yep. And
throwing
Touk
a shoulder into
Touk
him.
apparently said to Stephen King, I want Neil this
Yeah.
week. He said
Yep.
to him, I want the tag on him.
Mate, the entire team was just grinding him down. And by the third quarter, you could see it. Touk Miller was running like 30 metres ahead of Neil. He couldn't get near him. He was just
He's an athletic specimen, Touk Miller.
And of
Another
course-
good matchup in this game was the coaching move of playing Ben King as a negator, a diffuser, to quote
Yep.
David King, our Lord and Saviour, on Harris Andrews, chopping him out in the air. That was a directive, he said, from the coach. You just stop Harris Andrews from intercept marking. He didn't take one. And Ben King kicked 5 goals.
I mean, they didn't just beat him either. It was, what was the margin? 40, 50
41.
points? Yeah. It was
Immense.
a slapping.
Immense.
That midfield, the Suns' midfield just looked so elite. And Brisbane was dead. I mean, how much of that was Ashcroft not being there? Maybe a bit.
They give you a bit of leeway,
But Jesus Christ, it's the Lions versus the Suns, and they got absolutely slapped.
How many times have I written a line through the Suns and said they're fucked, they're done, and then the next week they will just
boys
blitz them. They will blitz
And
them.
also, I mean, the big one was we got Nutgate.
Oh yeah,
We got
yes, the Nutgate. Yes,
So
the squirrel grip.
Touk Miller going for a bit of a body slam tackle on Dane Zorko. And, I mean, you can see he does grab his nuts.
Yeah, but that can happen.
That happens.
That
I mean,
can
it's
happen.
not like he was looking at him
Yeah.
and grabs him. He's just kind of
Yeah.
His hand just goes there.
Once
and he
you're in
kinda
the thick of
grabs-
it, once
And
you're
you've done that before, haven't you, Corey?
Oh, every day.
Sometimes these things happen. I have had my nuts grabbed playing football,
And we do-
and I have grabbed a nut
Yeah,
playing
good.
football.
We do have the audio here.
Oh, we've got live off the scene. Yeah, that's
he's
damning.
not happy, not happy.
Damning footage, and no tribunal to answer for. I don't think.
No,
He didn't
they
get
wiped it out.
picked at
They
all.
wiped it out. So people have speculated online whether because Dane Zorko is a bit of a grub.
Yes,
Everyone knows
allegedly,
that.
Alleged grub.
No,
yeah,
he
alleged.
is.
He just he
Yeah,
is at this point.
Okay, yeah. He's
They're
a grub.
speculating if it was Zorko grabbing Miller's nuts
2 weeks.
if it would be a big thing, and
Yeah.
absolutely it would, and it should.
and it would be deserved.
I've got a great line here. Miller grabbing Dane by the Zorks is better than Zorko grabbing Miller by the Tooks.
With that next game, that's very good.
Next game. So this was at Marvel. Sorry. So the Bombers getting edged out by 2 points from the Swans.
Oh, this was heartbreaking.
in Buddy's last game.
This was heartbreaking. I was going for Essington here. They were
They've-
making it look difficult. the whole
Essington,
way
oh
through.
boys.
Well, they came
It's-
back. That's the thing. Essendon
They
really gave it a crack.
They just made it. This wasn't a pretty game at all. They
Yeah.
made it look so difficult.
They can do that, the Dons.
Oh,
they
my
can
God.
do that.
Their defense, I mean, similar to, but in a different way to the Bulldogs, where it was just not there.
Yep.
Atrocious.
They are
Absolutely
they are
atrocious.
undermanned and undersized back there. They have been all season.
Yeah, I think they'll start to be looking towards what they can do in the off season, who they
Yep.
can bring in.
They should go for. I mean, I know that Barras is apparently a done deal for Sydney, which is still crazy to me that the Eagles letting him go.
Well, I mean, he's got a
but
broken
if,
back
if
now.
Barras is on the market,
He's got a broken back.
yeah, no, but you got to take him. Give him the off season to recover the broken back.
back.
If he would slot so well into that Essendon back
Mate.
line.
well,
when
they're
you
going to get
recover-
Mackay.
They're going for Mackay, you
They,
reckon?
no, they have interviewed Mackay already.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
going to happen.
All right.
So
Bet my left nut.
on Sydney, this was another great game for Amadi, stepping up
Yes.
and showing that he can be somewhat of that Franklin role, although he doesn't have the same kind of run yet.
He's
or if ever,
he's
but
getting there.
He's very
he's,
good.
he's getting there.
Yeah.
He's got a good set of dukes on him though, Amadi.
Yeah.
He can take a
Yeah.
grab. He can kick a goal.
And I've got an interesting Buddy v Essendon stat here.
Oh yes.
Buddy has the most goals against Essington since they've last won a final. 79 goals. Second,
Nearly the ton.
Second is Eddie Betts, 62, and Tom Hawkins with 56.
That is damning. That
Yeah.
is absolutely damning. God, the only prediction that I might get right from our early season predictions was Essington in 9th. And it is honestly looking like they're going to have a famous victory on their last round of the season.
And I will
then
say-
they'll be in 8th, and then a team will edge them out to 9th on percentage.
on predictions being so hard to do, this season has been one of my favourite seasons of all time.
Easily,
I mean,
yes.
just look at the way the ladder, especially that middle section of the ladder, is so unpredictable at the moment. I mean, usually by about round 10, the 8's kind of locked up.
It's sort of it's locked up. It's stitched up
This
a bit. But
is an unbelievable season.
I did a ladder predictor today, and I was looking at it going, I don't know why I'm doing this. Like, this is going to be wrong. There's no fucking way that I'm going to accurately predict these games. I don't know what I got in tips this week, but it was probably fucking 2.
I think 2 or 3, yeah.
God, yeah, horrendous. Next game, Joel.
Next game was a showdown where Adelaide
Oh!
decided to absolutely belt Port Adelaide by
Great
47
The
points.
The Cromdom is back on.
The Cromdom is back on.
Yeah.
Tex Walker kicking 7
Oh,
after Joel made us aware before the podcast that Kane Corns, a quote has surfaced.
Yeah, I've got the quote here. So earlier in the season, Kane Corns said, I think we need to put the performance of Taylor Walker in big games under the microscope.
Oh, dear.
Does he play well in big games? He
Oh, dear.
fills up on the North Melbournes and the Hawthorns and the Fremantles. But how often does he kick a big bag against a
dear.
top 4 side or in a
can't-
big game?
Can't think of any times.
Apart from this time where he got 20 disposals, 18 kicks, 7 contested possessions, 15 scoring involvements, 7 goals, and the showdown medal. Apart from that,
The Texan. And now I don't want to harp on,
and he is second in the Coleman.
he's second in the Coleman. Don't want to harp on Kane Corns because, as you know, he's a close personal friend.
personal
He's a close
friend.
personal
Well,
friend
if
of
you ask
mine.
Tex Walker, so there was a comment that was made in the post-match press conference asking, well, your friend Kane Corns has made this comment about Rory Sloane, and Tex was very quick to shut it down and go, He's not my friend.
Oh, just Kane taking
He's
fat
not-
L's
he's not my
left,
friend.
right, and
And
centre.
we will get that sound grab for next week because it is honestly perfect. He's not my friend.
Even no matter
it's
how
not
many
me joking,
L's,
Ray.
no matter how many L's Kane Corns takes, you can guarantee he's going to double down, and that's what I
he will.
respect about
He
him.
will.
He will absolutely never admit that he is wrong.
No, never.
He will double down, except for the Jack Ginnivan thing. He did it with the Jack Ginnivan thing, and he
Yeah.
got the hair dye and everything, but can guarantee you he'll be back saying, no, I'll back that in. I said the right thing. But what a showdown. Tex with a deserved medal.
Extreme pressure from the Crows.
Yeah.
My
they,
God, they were throwing themselves at every
still
contest.
a smoky for the finals of the Crom.
They're gonna have to keep. They have to play that exact game over and
Yes.
over again to do it.
Next game, Joel. Let's whiz through them.
Alrighty, so the next game was the Saints doing a number on the Hawks.
Oh well, I wouldn't say doing a number.
I wouldn't say doing
They
a
were-
number.
Look, that
They
first
were
quarter-
looking
I
fucked.
know you're going to find a way to give Saints votes here, Joel, but I
Nah,
don't
mate.
think
This was-
this
this
was
was
them
the-
No,
doing
no,
a
no.
number.
This
This
is
the
my game
worst
to
game.
talk about. You guys were
Go
chatting
on
about it
then.
the last
This
of them.
was the
Go
worst
on.
game of the round.
Both of you, shut the fuck up just
Go
for a
on,
moment.
Joel.
Give me something for a change. Saints' first quarter was incredible. If you didn't see those 9 goals we kicked, we couldn't do anything wrong. We were handballing it to no one and someone was there.
But then what happened after
Then
that?
you did some things wrong after that,
Look,
I think.
we rested up and then came back in the last quarter pretty strong with another 5 goals. But what I did like was...
So what you're saying is another
what
bottom
part of
3
Let Me
team
Speak
has
did you miss?
has really challenged you.
What part of Let Me Speak and Shut Up did
oh
you
my
miss?
God! All right, go on then.
Mr. Speaker?
Caminiti and what was his name? Sharman. Sharman doing a number on Sicily was really nice. Basically, as a defensive forward.
He did
defensive
very well.
forward, That's one.
Caminiti has been suspended.
No, well, he got off.
Did he?
Oh,
Yeah.
did he? Oh, hot off the presses. Yes, very good.
So Crouch, Wangani Malira was insane.
He's been one of the best performers for the Saints this year. I think very, very consistently getting the ball and using it well.
Well, off half back, he is doing that Jack Sinclair role, and Sinclair is now going into the middle,
Yep.
and he's doing it incredibly for a second-year player.
Oh, for sure. He's. I love watching him play. He's a beautiful kick, runs well, very intelligent footballer. Yeah, he's might be one of my favourite Saints at the minute. It's him or Wilkie, I reckon. A lot of
Put it
respect
this
for those
way:
boys.
if Mitch Owens, okay, let's just say Wangani Malira didn't play enough games last year, and he was doing this type of stuff this
Yeah.
year, oh, he'd definitely be right up there in the rising star.
Yep.
Like,
But it was a good effort from the Hawks.
mate, it was a
Another one
very
where
good
they're
effort.
contending against teams
Yeah.
that should be putting them away.
It's a shame. It's a shame that Caminiti got let off because it would have done a bit of circular parody here. Round 11, James Sicily suspended for 1 game for bumping Anthony Caminiti. Round 20, Anthony Caminiti suspended for 1 game for striking James Sicily.
well, he didn't really strike him because
He struck him.
Sicily's soft.
He turned
and
around
went
and hit
down.
him.
Yes, barely touched him.
Barely
Yeah,
touched him.
all right,
That's
all
the
right,
name
all
of the
right.
show.
But
What's
that-
the next game? Next game, let's whiz through them.
Next game, Melbourne coming out in the last quarter and finishing off Richmond at the G.
The Tigers were in
Gawn.
there. The Tigers were in there, but Gawn, I think, is the most valuable player in the entire league. At
He
this
fucking
point.
might be at the minute.
Yeah.
He really might
Absolute clearance monster.
Yep.
Didn't need anyone else. Just did it by himself.
be. When the game was there to be won, he won the game, and it
Yep.
sounds reductive, but without Gawn dominating in the middle and against even though Ivan Soldo is not the best ruck in the world,
He's serviceable.
He ate him alive.
Yeah, he did.
Just ate him alive. Bullied him out of every toss. He was getting tackles, taking marks, getting clearances.
I think he had. I've got it written down.
He had
here.
like 26 or something. He had 26 disposals.
28 disposals.
28 disposals.
is unbelievable.
Yeah, huge for a ruckman.
He had 7 clearances in 1 quarter.
Yeah, and Melbourne making the charge. You know they're gonna just start rolling
they're
and
the,
finding that form for finals.
They're the only team in the top 4 that had a win this week.
Yeah, wow, that's what a tipster's nightmare, you might say. It's a tipster's nightmare. To quite kick it forward, friends of the pod. Next game, keep whizzing through him.
So this is Spoon Bowl, last game of the round, and
Oh.
the Eagles getting up by 5
Mate.
points to record their first.
Brings a tear to your eye.
Now,
for
this
a very
I was there
fucking
for.
long time.
I went with the lovely Nadia. We had a great time at this game. Just inspired performance from both sides in the Spoon Bowl.
Elijah Hewitt, I liked.
Elijah Hewitt was very good.
He's going to be a gun. He
Yep.
really, really will be a gun. And just incredible from him.
I thought Brady Hoff did some really good things as well. He had some good
Bailey
turn of
Williams?
foot. Bailey Williams, honestly, yeah, I was when we do our Adopt Your Boy segment, I keep begging someone to adopt Bailey Williams because at the start of this season, and towards the back end of last season, he was really not looking like a first-class ruckman at all. He was getting... He would make a lot of clangers in a game. He would get completely dominated in the ruck. He would make these mistakes. Wasn't a great kick. Compare that to where he's at now. Like specifically this last month and a half of footy. Bailey's turning it on. He is really turning it on. Yes, they're losing by a fair bit apart from this North game. But fucking Bailey, I tell you what, I was wrong.
Even though they're losing all of these games, the experience that these players are getting is going to be unreal.
Yes.
Like I'd said towards the mid part of the season that the Eagles will be playing finals in 2 years, and you said that sounds insane.
It still does sound insane.
I don't think it's insane at all.
Yes, it is.
It is insane.
I don't think it's insane at all.
I think you're a crazy person.
Nah.
I think it's
You watch.
very insane.
You watch.
Nels Barkley, crazy.
That was Brett Ratton's last game for North Melbourne as well as coach.
Yeah,
Yeah,
look,
Clarko coming back.
I love the Rats, but he didn't really coach well in this game.
Well,
no,
what was he coaching with?
Well, he's
got him a
coaching
lot
against the
closer than-
worst Eagles side that has ever existed.
Yeah.
And I'll get to this at a later
we
point
didn't mention
in
in the retiring either. Is it Zeeble?
Is Zeeble retiring
Yeah.
too?
Yeah.
Yes, he
Yeah.
is. Oh, yes, we forgot. Yes, no,
forgot
shouts
that.
out Jack Zeeble. He came on as the sub, did a couple of handy things. But I think the best part of this game is something I will get to when we go to our MVP voting.
Okay.
Now, this is the top 5 players from each of us in this round. Top player gets 5 votes. 5th best player gets 1 vote. Let's go through it. At the moment, Nicky Dacos does have this medal sewn up.
Yeah.
$1.00001 on Sportsbet.
The
In fact, it's suspended. It's suspended. He's winning the BTH MVP, but the top 5
It's engraved.
and the top 10, anyone's guess.
Yep.
Now let's start. We'll go from the other end to me. Joel, you want to start with your top 5 from the round, mate?
Alrighty, so I want to give a special mention to Bailey Williams first.
I love that. Yes.
But 1 vote, Errol Goulden. 37 touches, a goal, 10
not
marks.
bad. Not bad.
Just chopped up. 2 votes, Nzaya Wanganeen-Malira. 1 goal and 33 touches at 82% off
Yes.
half back was
That one's
just
always
incredible.
hard to write down. It's very long.
Just write in NW.
I'm going to write Wang.
Alrighty.
Yeah, it's almost as good of a nickname as the Big Cum. We've got the Wang.
Cumberland.
The Wang. Go on, Joel.
3 votes to Maxi Gawn that last quarter,
Yes,
where he
very
just
deserved.
absolutely chopped up. 4 votes Toby Green, 5 goals, 2 against the Doggies to win that game, basically off his own back. And 5 votes, I don't think you can look past Tex Walker.
Oh.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
I like it.
He kicked 7 goals against the second top team in the
Yep.
comp.
No, that's
Yeah,
good.
very
won in the
good.
showdown.
Corey, what is your top 5, sir?
1 vote, Toby Green.
Oh, yep.
2 votes, King Freddie. He was
huge.
just unbelievable.
I don't think he's been on the count before. We've got a
he has.
debutant.
I think he has. No,
Also,
he
I
has.
don't think Wanganeen-Malira has been on. Have you
Wanganeen
given him
Malira
votes?
also
Yes,
has.
he
Yes.
has.
He has before.
Yep.
Okay, yep. Sorry, go on.
Tex Walker, 3 votes.
Yes.
Max Gawn, 4 votes.
Yes.
With the 28 disposals and the however many clearances. And 5 votes took Miller.
Oh, huge.
It was just unbelievable. Unbelievable performance from him all around.
All right, well, we've got
from
some-
all angles. It was
From all angles.
performance.
I've got it. We've got very different top 5s to each other, and mine is no exception here, boys. For 1 vote, I'm going Ben King.
Ben King. Yep.
Absolutely amazing job as a negating aerial presence for Harris Andrews. Took him out of the game completely in what was tipped to be a dominate. They were expected to get flogged by Brisbane here. Let's
Yes.
be honest. Ben King took out arguably their most important player structurally and kicked 5 goals himself. Yes, Touk Miller was amazing. Noah Anderson was amazing, but Ben King, for the job he played, I think was the most valuable player in that game.
I'd like to give 5 points to Stephen King on this because that was a coaching masterclass.
I'm also listening to the audiobook of The Stand right now,
Oh,
and it's
good.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
very,
good,
very,
very
good.
good.
So that's another Stephen King. He's a man of many talents. 2 votes, Tex Walker. Can't believe I've
Walker.
only squeezed him in for 2, but as Joel mentioned,
been a big week of upsets.
7 goals against the second best team in the comp and in a showdown. Huge context for that game. 3 votes, Maxi Gawn. for the reasons we have discussed. 28 disposals, huge clutch performance in that last quarter. 4 votes, Charlie Curnow.
Yes, of course.
I would say, most damaging player in that game, in that win over the best team in the comp, the beautiful, handsome Magpies. But he couldn't set a foot wrong. He got the better of Darcy Moore in a lot of contests, got the better of Murphy when he was one-on-one with him. No matter what situation he found himself in, he was scoring or assisting or involving himself with scores.
You're a better man than me. I couldn't give votes to any
Couldn't give it to
Carlton
him.
players.
And 5 votes. And I don't think he's been on the count so far this year.
5 votes to a debutant?
I think it might. I could
I'll tell
be
you,
wrong.
I know everyone that's on it.
I could be wrong, but for 5 votes, I am going with Shannon Hearn.
Oh, Hearnie.
One of the best lockdown performances with his job on Nick Larkey, who was expected to kick at least 6 goals every other time. So he's third in the Coleman at the moment, Nick Larkey. As we know, when Charlie Curnow's played the Eagles this year,
10 goals.
10 goals, 9 goals. When Tex Walker's played them, 10 goals. Nick Larkey, who's just below those two on the Coleman, without Barras in this back line, I was looking at him line up. I was like, who are they going to play on him? Are they going to play Rhett Bazzo? Like, who the fuck have they got? They have no height back there, the Eagles. Watching at Optus, I've seen big Shannon Hearn, or medium-sized Shannon Hearn, rather, go straight to Nick Larkey from the opening bounce, and he was one-on-one with him all day. Nick Larkey only kicked 2 goals, and none of them were legit one-on-one victories against Shannon Hearn in the air. He was giving up like 4 inches, 5 inches on him. He would just muscle him under the ball, edge him out from it. He finished with 21 disposals, 7 intercept possessions, and 7 spoils at 100% efficiency.
Yes.
I have never given 5 votes so hard. Shannon Hearn, you're a stud and you've had a great career. You deserve this.
Now, I will tell you, I'm 95% sure Shannon Hearn has got 1 vote already.
All right, well, you've got 5 more, Shannon. You've got 5 more.
That's very good.
Legend.
That is very
Absolute
good.
legend.
Very
and do
good
we
and
have
well-deserved.
Monty's votes at all? Anyone in the
Yep.
chat? Joel, you've got him over there.
Yeah, so Wayne Miller from the Adelaide Crows is his 1 vote.
He's given a Crom a vote. I can't believe
Yep.
it, Monty.
2 votes to Paul Curtis from North Melbourne.
Yeah, he was dangerous.
Yep. 3 votes to Marcus Bontempelli.
One.
Oh,
4 votes to Maxi Gawn.
I'm gone.
And 5 votes to nut grabbing Took Miller.
Took Miller
Miller
with a tenner this week. So now the count. I don't think there'd be much movement in the standings
Miller will
after
go
that.
up a little bit.
Yes.
He's in the top 10, I believe.
Took Miller? No way.
I think he is.
I don't think he is because he missed a lot of footy.
Yeah, that's true.
He
He
missed.
did.
I don't think
He-
he is.
he missed
I don't
too
think he
much.
is.
He
But a
missed too
tenner
much.
will put him up from wherever
Yeah.
he is, surely.
Yep, definitely.
So now, after the top 5, we are going to go to not adopt your boy yet, because we were going to do a reply from the mailbag of last week, and it was a good
course.
question that we would get back to.
I think it was Cracker Craig.
I think it might have been Cracker Craig. We got asked, who are your 3 most improved players in the AFL this season? I think we go to our 3 each. We'll each say who our 3 are and justify it.
Yep.
So we'll go the same order. Joel, who did you get for your 3 most improved players in the league and why?
Alrighty, so starting with Tim English.
Yeah, not bad.
Yes.
Not bad.
Yes.
He's basically edged ahead now to what we expect to be the All-Australian ruckman.
Yeah, you'd think he's a shoo-in. You'd think
Yes.
so.
We think so
with
now.
Darcy,
And it's-
Darcy going down, that was his only competition.
And
in
it's
my
taken
eyes.
time as well. You know, we saw him when he first came in, very lanky, and still hasn't got the biggest amount of muscle on him. But what he does around the ground is incredible.
Yep. He's an incredibly efficient ruckman as well.
He's another midfielder now. He's
Yeah,
a
for
very,
sure.
very tall midfielder.
Bit of a Dean Cox type. Yeah,
Exactly.
he reminds me a bit of Big Dean Coxey. Good pick, Joel.
Second, we've got Nazai Wanganeen-Malira.
Yep, I
bad.
don't hate it.
So what he's done, and he's basically taken up that Sinclair role and running off half back has been incredible.
Yes.
And I think for a second-year player, what he's able to do really, really is impressive.
Yep, for sure.
Number 1, Errol Goulden.
Oh, yes.
He's-
Yes.
Errol, yeah, very
Just
good.
on the wing, he's the best winger in the
He's a
comp
jet.
right now.
Yep.
He's an absolute jet. He's a lock for all Australian, no doubt.
Yeah,
about that.
that's if they pick actual wingers,
I
which
think
I
they
think
have
they
to
are.
pick
him.
I think they are being more pressured and aware to do an actual winger this season or 2
100%.
because the wingers have just been so much more pronounced in how much ball they're getting.
Well, it's the way that the game is moving. The winger is melding into a newer, more hybrid role.
They're getting more of the ball.
Yep.
They're getting more of the ball, even though the winger is still its own position. And but yes, very good. Corey, who are your three?
I will take Isaac Quaynor.
Yes.
For most of this season, and he may still be the best one-on-one player in the league. He loses no one-on-one contest.
Sam Taylor would be up there as well.
Yep.
I'm not sure what the stats
Yep.
say, but very hard to beat one-on-one.
Quaynor's always been a good team man, but never a stat leader in any sense. He's just kind of been there to play a role, but he is legitimately an elite player now, especially in a key position. Oleg Markov.
Oh, you've gone with two pies already.
I've talked about Oleg Markov a lot, but it's just such a heartwarming story.
Yes.
And the more games he gets, the more he's fitting in and the better he's playing, and to the point now where he is a legitimate jet.
Yes.
He is an absolute jet, and he's in there 22.
Yeah, you can't take him out at the minute. You can't take him out.
Which is
He's
incredible.
too important.
And number one is Jeremy Finlayson.
Oh, yes, the Jezza. Yes.
The big Finn.
We love the big Finn.
We do love the big Finn.
Yes.
We've talked about him at length, so I don't really need to go into it too much.
Yeah,
but he's
huge fans of Jeremy Finlayson on this pod.
He's been amazing this year.
Well, I have one magpie as opposed to your two. And my magpie, these are in no particular order as well. These are just three guys that highlight to me from where they were last year, from where they are this year. These are, I think, my favourite improvements. Bobby Hill, I'm starting with. From being sort of on the fringe at GWS, even though he was getting games, he's now hit a career high for total goals and disposals in a season by round 20.
Yeah.
And he just seems like a much more damaging player around the goals. He's kept Jack Ginnivan out of the side.
He has, yeah.
He is the reason that Ginnivan, who was our best small forward last year, is not getting a game. And that, if you told me before the season that this was going to be the situation, I wouldn't have believed you. I thought Bobby Hill was going to spend the whole year in the twos, honestly. And he's completely proven me wrong. Excellent, important player for our forward structure. Another one, Jack Lukosius.
Okay.
From awkwardly not fitting into their half-back line in the Gold Coast Suns lineup. He was a good long kick-off of half-back if he could hit the target, but you wouldn't really say he jumped off of the page. He wouldn't have been one of their first guys picked each week. He was sort of meandering back there, but most goals he's ever kicked in a year prior to this season was 8. And he's now sitting on 34 moving forward. And he's just been arguably the second best tall forward for them after Ben King.
After King, yeah.
He's been very important for Gold Coast. And now you'd think he's now one of their first 5 or 10 guys picked every week. I think it's been a massive leap up for him.
Very good.
And I know I said this isn't in particular order, but I think easily the most improved player in the AFL by a country mile this season compared to what they were. One, Brian Myers. Silly name, so it's a huge plus. We love Brian Myers. He's changed his hair.
Yeah.
He's changed his outlook on attacking transition football. He is possibly on track to beat Jason Ackermanis' record for most goal assists in an AFL
how close
season.
is he? He's only got to get a couple
He's
more.
on no, it's a bit more than a couple. He's on 32 at the moment. The record is 44.
Oh, that's not bad.
But that's including a final series because this was set in 2004 by Jason Ackermanis. So if Geelong make finals
He can
get a couple of games, he can absolutely equal that record for most goal assists in a season.
You'd say there's a bit of Lionel Messi about him.
You
Well,
might
Jared
even
would.
say he scans the field from all angles. So great question, Cracker Craig. If you would like to get involved with the Barely Touched Him mailbag and get us to respond to a question, hit us up on Instagram, Barely Touched Him, or, find one of our phone numbers, stalk us. I'm not your boss.
good
I'm
Lord.
not going to tell you how to do your
PM
job.
me. I'll give you my number.
Yeah, give you my number. Now we go into the flagship segment of the Barely Touched Him podcast. It is, of course, Adopt Your Boy.
Good. I
What
like
a
that one.
segment. Can you tell I've had a fair bit of caffeinated beverages?
You're peaking today.
I'm peaking because I can't have any beers. Now, because we've got a fair few new listeners to the podcast, we've been going, the numbers have been a little bit up this week, a bit more engagement. Maybe our dear listeners might not know the boy criteria. So, at the start of the season, we set up this segment and the idea, the foundation of what adopting our AFL boy is. Now, lads, I'm going to rail off to you. Joel, give me one of the criteria for adopting a boy.
He's got to be a bit shit. Not a bit shit, but he can't be a superstar.
Can't be a superstar.
Can't be a media darling.
Can't be a media
Can't
darling.
win the awards.
Has to be under 25.
Yes, before the start of the season.
Yep.
Before the start of the season, had to be under the age of 25.
Can't have won any individual accolades.
Copy that. Can't have won any individual accolades. So
Can't
no.
be in the leadership group.
Can't be in the leadership group. Captain or vice captain, no siree Bob. And it helps if he's got a funny name.
If he's got a funny name
he's
or an
not-
ugly face.
Or he's
Or
not
he's ginger.
conventionally attractive. If he's ginger, that's great.
And that's not to say that any of our boys are ugly.
No,
I
I think they're all quite
beautiful.
handsome. But
It helps if they are.
my
ugly.
one's very small.
Yeah.
He's very, very small.
That is
That's
funny.
a big tick in there. Just anything that's a bit...
What's wrong with being small?
Nothing wrong at
Nothing,
all, Joel.
nothing,
We
nothing.
love Patrick Parnell and yourself. We love all our
Well,
short kings
if
out
there
there.
was nothing wrong with being small, then why are you sitting on 2 cushions?
He is sitting on 2 cushions
So-
right now, and he's still
I can see.
significantly shorter than me on a chair. So now this is what the boys we have adopted under this criteria.
You can see, if you are viewing this on YouTube, you can see pictures of them here.
Yes, we got them in photo frames. Mine is Patrick Parnell of the Adelaide Crows. Hasn't been getting that many games this year, but he's been very unlucky. He's been very
He's had a-
unlucky not
had
to
a
get them.
couple.
He's had a couple, and he's also nominated for Mark of the Year. Took an absolute hanger earlier on in the season.
Fuck, I forgot about
He
that.
might actually win the car.
I forgot
He
about
might
that.
actually win that car.
Do you
'cause it
still
is-
get a car?
I think you
No,
do.
you don't.
I don't-
What do you
I
get?
thought they
Do
got
you
rid
not
of the
get a car
I think
anymore?
it's 50 grand.
Oh,
probably
I'd
less
rather
than
a
that.
car.
Yeah, I think it's just 50 grand cash.
Oh, because I love when commentators say when someone goes up for a hanger and they drop it, it goes, oh, he's dropped the car. He's dropped the car. I love that. Oh, there's no actual car. Joel's boy.
Joey Richards.
Yes.
Richards,
Talk
he's
us
down
through
here on
your
the
boys.
left.
Talk us through your boys' season so far before we get to the weekly stats.
Look, he's had his struggles with injury. He's come from the VFL. He didn't play. No, he's come from country footy, so he's never played VFL before.
Yep.
So he's taken a bit to get used to it, taken a bit to get used to the game plan. But hey, he's ticking along, small forward. I've gone over to Melbourne. I've met him. Lovely guy.
Yes, that's very good engagement from our intrepid reporter Joel going over to meet his boy. And arguably the
king.
le pièce de résistance
The king.
of boys is
Sammy-
Corey's boy,
Sammy
He's more
Flanders
of a daddy now.
Sam Flanders.
from the Gold Coast Suns.
Talk us through the season for your boy, Corey.
Well,
How has it been?
He was catching a couple of games towards the start of the year, but got kind of forced out of the squad. Then kind of came back in, and then copped an injury. It was a ligament injury in
Yes.
the knee. And since coming back from that, he is dominating. He is leading the disposal count in every game that he plays.
He's
getting
getting
over
30. He's
over
getting
30
30 plus.
disposals every week, including this week where he got 31 or
Yes.
32.
Could have
even.
won the medal. Honestly, could have
It's
won the medal.
unbelievable.
The rise of Sammy Flanders has been meteoric.
Yeah,
And now
it
this
is crazy.
We are now obviously, for the rest of this season, he is your boy, and we're so
Yep.
proud of your boy.
Yeah.
But
Well,
after this season,
he's
he
a man.
may no longer be eligible for boydom.
He's a
he
man.
might not.
He's a man.
He's a man.
He's a
he
man.
has now matured into a man. So next season,
he
you
is-
might have
he
to
is,
send him off to college because he's not your child anymore, and he goes to college to study medicine. We could only presume because he's such a smart footballer.
He is a friend of the show, and he's been very kind in the messages on Instagram.
Yes.
He loves that we're following him
Yep.
and going for him and hoping for
We are
hoping
the
best
biggest
for him.
fans of Sammy Flanders on the Barely Touched Him podcast.
But
So now-
there will be a ceremony at the end of the year to
Graduation,
release him into manhood.
we can play As We Go On, We Remember.
We
But
will.
we will do that. We will do that later on. But either way, this is just to get the listeners, if you haven't been
up to speed,
aware
up to speed.
of the Adopt Your Boy segment,
Yep.
we want you to adopt your boy if you haven't already. Tell us who your boy is. Tell us how their
And
season has
start-
gone.
Start scouting for next
Start
year.
scouting for next year's
Yeah.
boy. And remember, examples of eligible boys if you don't want to go with Patrick Parnell or Sammy Flanders or or Joy Richards. You can't because we adopted them first. Bailey Williams from the Eagles would be a
Huge,
boy.
huge one.
Who else would be a boy? Before this year, I think Ed Richards from the Doggies would have been eligible.
Yeah,
But now he's
I
getting a
think
bit
I think we would split on that at the
He's
start of the
now
year.
ineligible, I
Yeah.
think, because he's getting too much of the ball.
Well, my argument at the start of the year was that he was ineligible because of his father.
Oh, because he's a legacy. Yes,
Yes.
no,
Yeah,
you're
but then
right.
he's a ranger.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
gives
so
him another
that
point.
brings
that
him
brings
back
him
in.
back. So he's a ranger.
Yeah.
That's another point. So Ed Richards is borderline. That's a good. So Bailey Smith, not a boy. Not a boy. Absolutely
If you
not.
have an underwear contract, not a boy.
Chad Warner, not a boy.
Not a boy.
Friend of the pod, he has messaged me before, but he's too good to be a boy.
Yeah,
too good.
too good.
So this is the criteria for you. Let us know who your boy is, and we'll go to our boys this week. Patrick Parnell, the week that my boy has had, he was named in the ones last week, and he got dropped with illness.
At
Had a bit of a flu.
the last second he got dropped.
But he has come back.
Heartbreaking.
He's come back from the illness, not into the ones. He's gone into the reserves Adelaide Showdown, which the reserves Crom beat the reserves Port 92-27. They've smashed them, and Patrick Parnell has ended up with 22 disposals, 2 tackles, and 5 rebound 50s.
That's good.
So that's a classic Paddy Parnell
Yeah,
game.
that's his stat line.
Standard stat line
Yeah.
for Paddy off of half back. Love to see it, and he'd be knocking on the door. He's doing his job. He's
The
going to.
Cromdom's back on.
You know what
He's
you're going to
gotta
get
him
from
in.
Paddy. So if there's a couple of machinations of guys being injured, he's ready to go. How did Joey Richards go in the VFL, Joel? How did your boy perform?
Alrighty, so he had 14 touches and a behind, along with 5 marks.
Could have been a goal. Could have
bad.
easily
Not too
been a
bad.
goal.
Could have easily been a goal. So look, he's getting a bit of the footy, and it's pretty hard to break into that Collingwood side.
Well,
at the moment.
14's a bit
It
up
is.
from what he's usually on,
and that's
isn't
as
it?
a small forward.
Yeah. Hardest position in the game.
Not
Hardest
bad.
position
Not
in the
bad.
game.
And obviously, as I said, Sammy Flanders just continues to be on fire. 31 or 32 disposals, just all over it.
He's getting older by the day.
He's just looking more and more elite. Like the way he handles the ball, the way he's throwing himself into the contests, unreal.
Yep.
And he looks like he's might have put on another 5 kilos.
They
or so
grow up.
from the
They
start
grow
of
up
the
so
season.
fast. Our boys.
Oh,
they
man.
they just.
He just looks. He's so good to watch. He
Cats
looks
in the
elite.
cradle and the silver spoon. Little boy blue and
I'm
the
very
man
proud.
on the moon.
Even though I have absolutely no connection to Sammy Flanders whatsoever outside of this, I'm very proud of him.
Yes, we're so proud. Now,
proud of him.
after the Adopt Your Boy segment, by the way, send us in your boy. Please do. Barely touched on Instagram. We will read it out next Adopt Your Boy segment. I would like a big stream of boys coming in
Yeah,
to our
we love it.
DMs.
We love
the
it.
next segment is, of course, Is Joel okay?
Hmm.
Where we check in on our boy Joel, who is a St Kilda fan, and it's been, to put it lightly, an up and down season, let's say, for the St Kilda Saints. Talk us through where your mindset is at right now with the boys, Joel.
Look, the way I look at it, we've got 4 matches to go. And where are we sitting? 5th. 5th on the ladder.
Somehow.
Do not deserve to be in fifth.
Somehow.
That is fucked. That is
But we're
so
sitting
fucked.
5th, like about a game and a bit ahead of, whoever's in 8th. So it's ours to lose. We can definitely make the 8.
But how, yours to lose. You've already lost it. How can
No,
you,
no, no, no. I don't
How,
think you've realised.
how can you quantify?
We're in 8th.
But how can you quantify that after you barely
we're in
beat
8th.
North, you barely beat the Eagles,
Do you know-
and you've
do you know
just
how?
Still
barely
in
beat the
fifth.
Hawks?
They are still in
Do you know
fifth.
how?
Right,
Corey,
right.
that's 3 wins.
Yeah, I know, but,
Yeah.
but,
No, no, no,
but what
no,
does
no,
that
no,
say
no.
about what does that say about you if you have to play anyone that's not those teams?
Well,
So-
who have they got this week? Who have they got coming up?
So I can tell you who our next lot are. So we've got Carlton this week,
Huge game.
You'll get smashed. in that.
Huge.
but us winning that really cements us in the top 4.
Now,
8.
look, I don't know what Saints are paying for that, but I think it's about $3. I think, I don't know what sound effect you're playing there, but was it a fart?
It's a sad trombone.
It was a sad trombone, yes. I'm
can
going no
squeeze in a
headphones
fart.
today. But usually that's where Corey would be playing a fart.
I did play one.
That's why I guessed it. Now, talk us through the keys to victory against Carlton, Joel.
Look, we just have to stop Kerno, which Wilkie can do.
Yes.
It will,
Who?
I don't know about that.
Cal Wilkie.
I know who it is. It's just-
Very good player, Cal Wilkie, but I'm not sure if he can stop the big
Max
Charlie.
King's going to be back.
Is he really? Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's a big in.
Because
That's a big in.
Max doesn't play in the 2s, as Ross said last week.
Max, did he actually say that?
Yeah.
barely plays in the one.
Max doesn't play in the twos.
No, Max doesn't play in the 2s.
Oh, whoa, that's
Huge.
That's one of those Ross
Now-
comments where you go, I wouldn't have said that, Ross.
Zachy Jones going down with injury. He's out for the season. He's played 4 games. I don't know where his contract's going to sit at the end of this year.
Not a huge out, but yeah,
We fucked up my fantasy this week and I lost to you.
Good Lord.
And then, look, after this, we've got Richmond, we've got Geelong, and we've got Brisbane.
Huge games.
3 of those games at home.
You might beat Geelong.
I think, you
I
could
think
be.
we beat Richmond at Marvel.
No.
Well, Richmond have been patchy,
At
but
Marvel.
that
don't
could
like
be
playing there.
that could be a bit of a
they're
dogfight. The
firing
Richmond
up,
Saints
man.
game. Honestly, I think that's going to be the one you have to win.
Yeah.
Like
We
that's
need
one
to
you.
I mean, the Tigers were taking it to Melbourne.
We
this
need
week.
to win
Yeah.
2 of these games.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely got to win minimum 2.
If we win 2, we make the top 4. I mean, top
The
8.
top 4. The top
No,
4. He
top
says.
8. Top
yeah,
8.
that's what I thought. So, if you're predicting now, where do the Saints finish? We check in every week. We get a ladder prediction and then a perhaps finals prediction. He's never said that they will not be making the finals. He said maybe 9th one week.
Yeah, it was dicey on
It was
the on the
dicey.
ninth.
He was non-committal. So, what are you thinking now?
Look, I still think 6th.
Sixth.
You think 6th?
All right, we'll lock that in.
We'll lock it in. He says 6th, and you'll be playing against the 7th position. So let's say the Doggies finish in 7th. So you play the Doggies at Marvel.
I'm
I'd
confident in
pick
that
the
one.
Dogs. I'd pick the Dogs.
No,
I would
I'd be
pick-
confident if we're playing the Doggies at Marvel.
I wouldn't
Fuck
be.
yeah, we've got
I would
that.
pick the Dogs in
pick
that
the
game
Dogs every day of the
100%.
week.
They've got no defense left.
Yeah, but when it comes to
Did you
finals,
not see
I
what we
think
did to them early in the year?
yeah, it's not early in the year though.
We
It's-
absolutely flogged them.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be. It would be a rude awakening if
I
you played
hope
the
we
Dogs.
played the Dogs in the finals.
I think that could be realistically a possibility.
I hope we do.
Like you either finish 6th or 7th, either way round. I think that could be shaping up as the games. But imagine if it's Saints v Crom or Saints v GWS.
Yeah, see, they lose all of
They
those.
lose all those. Or it could be Saints v Geelong. Could be Saints v
See, they
Geelong
could
in the
win that.
finals. It could be, I don't know.
In any
There's
case,
a lot of
Either
8-point
way.
games.
before we move on to other sports, were we moving on to other
Yeah, yeah,
sports?
that
Before
was
we
the
do
plan,
that,
yes.
I've just got one last thing. Nathan Brown's sports bet interjections.
Oh, God, yeah. He's been
So he
all
does,
over him.
So he does the same game
he does a
multis,
multi each week.
Or
He
as
does
I
the
like
same
to call
game
them, the same game multis.
Oh,
Um,
hilarious, Corey. Very funny
He's
stuff.
done 57. 57
57
this
total
year.
multis,
Would you
yep.
like to guess how many of those have come in?
Oh, maybe 6?
2. So these are
I
advertised.
know
hit
what?
more
That's
multis
still-
than Nathan
Now,
Brown, and
these-
I haven't hit many.
These are multis advertised at the viewer that from a footy pundit as if
Yeah.
that's a good deal.
yeah.
2 from 57.
Oh, has someone told him this? Can someone get in touch with Nathan Brown and tell him, mate, these are shit multis.
Oh,
can
and-
you give me a 10-legger? Like,
and-
can you try and give me something more exotic, please?
And just one last stat. Teams with players to play every game this season
Oh, okay.
in their lists. Brisbane have 11.
Yep.
Bulldogs have 9, as do St Kilda and Collingwood. Port have 8, as does Gold Coast. Sydney, Richmond and Freo have 7. Kangas, Melbourne, Hawks have 6,
Yep.
as well as Essington. Geelong and Adelaide with 5. West Coast and GWS 4.
Yep.
Carlton 2. Kerno and Wiedering.
Wow. Well, there's
The
your
last two.
spine.
The last two.
It's been some shocking injury
And
runs there.
interesting that they're at either end.
Yes. Well, the Blues are making a charge
No
now.
context on that stat. I just thought it was
I like
interesting.
it. I like it's a no context AFL stat. So let's go to other sporting news. What I've got nothing
Interesting.
because I've been busy. What boys? What? I'll riff on your news
Well,
headlines.
before we get
boys.
into actual serious ones, we'll just lead it off with one that's a little bit funny.
yes,
DJ Khaled.
I hate him so much,
Yes.
man.
Now I hate him too, but I have become a massive fan in a way. I'm obsessed with watching his TikToks, his Instagram reels.
I have to hit not interested in every single one of them.
He has a mental disability. This man is disabled. Some of the stuff, the way he acts,
What disability do you think DJ Khaled has?
it's like he's been hit in the head with a bat. That's what it's like. The stuff he comes out with is it's not like it's like he's autistic or something.
No,
I
there's
anything wrong with that.
no. I don't think he's got anything.
Now,
he
his
got a disability.
latest-
I think he's just dumb as a post.
Yeah, he's
I
very
think
dumb.
that is it.
And he's surrounded by yes men as well.
100%. Yes.
So his latest thing is he's been playing a lot of golf. I've been seeing a lot of stuff about
yes,
him.
he says, "Let's go golfing."
He's got a
Yes.
custom Louis Vuitton golf bag that's worth $30,000.
So he's a wanker.
He is a wanker. Yes.
But this week he said in an interview that he wants to play on the PGA.
Yeah, the PGA Tour.
Now,
yeah.
I don't know if you've seen DJ Khaled. He's quite an overweight man.
He's obese.
And
He's morbidly obese.
He's also 47 years old.
And he's also
has
he's
said-
not good at golf.
This is
can get a
this
golf
is
cart,
a
can't he?
reporter saying Khaled, 47, is convinced he'll help break down barriers in golf to make the sport more diverse, and
What,
that
for
he'll
fat fucks?
and that he'll eventually play on the PGA Tour. It's an extremely tall order. And this is DJ Khaled. Will it change anything? I don't know. But I do know there's something profound about watching people of colour have this much fun on a golf course. People riding carts in circles, people munching on Jamaican jerk chicken, people hollering at each other from the other side of the course. There's no fear of being told you're too loud or that you're doing too much. Something that worries me in mostly white spaces.
I can't. Wow.
Are
So
we
DJ
ignoring the
Khaled
fact
is
that
saying
he's
that.
fat?
Yeah, he's very fat, Joel.
Yes.
He's very, very fat. So
he also hasn't heard of Tiger Woods.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't think of a single person of color who's good at golf. Can you?
So
It's
this
so
reporter,
white-dominated.
this reporter goes on. He says, maybe Khaled can't transform golf any more than Tiger Woods couldn't, but he has transformed this course on this afternoon. His claimed golf.
Yeah, God, that's just. I hate him so much because
It's
not only is
unbelievable.
he became a meme on Snapchat like 10 years ago. Like his Snapchat got really famous.
Yeah,
and
it's still stupid.
It's always been stupid.
Yep.
But his rise to fame in the music industry, I had to look this up not too long ago because I let my hatred for him consume my brain, and I did a deep dive. I'm like, how did this motherfucker get famous? So
He connects people. That's it.
he was a radio DJ.
Yeah.
He had like a radio show where he would just be a really shitty hype man, and that bleeds over into his musical style where he doesn't actually make the beats of the
No.
songs that he's
No,
credited on. He just gets it on the start of the song and just goes, DJ Khaled,
We the best music.
we the best music,
And that's
then
it.
that's it. That's all he does, and he gets millions of dollars to do it. And people enable this motherfucker. People enable him saying, "Wow, isn't this funny?"
Now,
that
look-
this guy's a
Now
millionaire.
look, before you blow the top off your head,
I am blowing the top
we'll,
off my
We'll
head.
move away from DJ
God, he
Khaled.
shits me, man. Fuck.
The UFC happened. It was a huge card.
Yes.
Huge card. We'll start from the bottom of the main card. Bobby Green choked out Tony Ferguson, which was tough
Very
to
sad.
watch.
Very, very sad.
Tony Ferguson's been going downhill for a while, and seeing him flailing on the ground with his legs kicking around, it was bad.
Yeah, remember when...
And Bobby Green's not a great fighter.
No, he's not. Remember when Khabib v Tony was the fight and
Yes.
everyone was so keen for this?
Well, he was the most electric fighter
Yeah.
in the UFC.
Yeah, and then CTE happens.
Okay,
you know?
he's old. Man.
He's old.
He's got to go. But he got paid $300,000 for that fight, so
They need to retire him for his own sake.
I'm scared that he's going to
For sure they
retire,
do.
and then 5 years later he's going to do a Chris Benoit.
If anyone's going to do a Chris Benoit in the
It's Ferguson.
UFC, it's Tony. It's Tony.
He's not right.
Yeah.
he's not
oh,
right.
God.
In any
for
case,
for any young kids who are not sure who Chris Benoit is, he did something bad.
He did.
He
He
did
did.
something
Google it.
very
The
bad.
Wolverine.
Google it.
On the
The
school
rabid
computers.
Wolverine.
There's
Also,
great documentaries about
hell
it.
of a wrestler.
Yeah, great.
Hell of a wrestler. He
Great.
was fantastic. But
What I suggest is for the kids listening, if there are any, go to
there
your
might be a
school-
couple, Joel.
Go to your school computers and Google.
Google
what
Chris
happened.
Benoit.
So next fight,
read
Derek-
it all. Read it all.
Derek the Black Beast Lewis, who's
Oh,
a
yes.
crowd favourite.
Yes.
Took about 3 seconds to knee this fat bloke in the head. I didn't even write his name down because this guy came out. He looked so out of shape. It was bad, man. It was bad. The fight started. He ran up, kneed him in the head. It was over.
Hilarious.
Pereira beat Blankowicz.
Blahovic. He's Polish. Yes.
That's right. I don't like Pereira, so I was going for Jan here.
Yes.
But it did go the distance, even though Jan looked gassed in the fourth.
Jan's getting old as
And
well.
that was
He is.
Pereira going up a division as well.
It was, yeah.
Yeah,
but
to light
he's-
heavyweight.
He is more of a natural light heavyweight. The fact that he was
He's
fighting,
massive.
the fact he was fighting in the class below is absolutely
It couldn't have been
insanity.
easy to
Huge.
cut.
Very thick.
And then
very thick.
the main event was Justin Gaethje defeating Dustin Poirier, or as I like to call it, Gay Jesus versus Pouillet, with a surprise head kick. Which
Yeah, it was
absolutely
huge.
nobody
You could hear
saw
it.
coming.
You
let
could
alone,
hear it.
Dustin Poirier.
Well, you
I
know
gotta
who
say-
didn't see it coming was Poirier.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's right.
I gotta say that I love the production on UFC. The mics, whatever mics they're using to capture the audio from
Yeah,
inside
the
the
shotgun
octagon,
mics or something.
you can hear that kick as it connected so well. It's just
That's why the a lot
so
of
good.
during COVID when they were doing the crowdless ones, I actually preferred it. It was you could hear.
There
everything.
was also one it wasn't during COVID, but it was held at an event in China, and
Yep.
the Chinese they're a bit quieter as a crowd,
Yes,
and
yep.
it was Alistair Overeem versus Sergey Pavlovich. This was years ago.
Oh,
And
Overeem was a
Overeem
gorilla.
Overeem won. This was still not steroid Overeem. It was after that,
Yeah.
but still huge. And he beat Pavlovich with ground and pound TKO. And the mics, because the crowd was so quiet and the mics were so perfectly placed, the shots that Overeem was getting in on Pavlovic were literally just like
sickening.
hitting. It was like the Incredible Hulk hitting a dead cow. It was just like 6 or 7 times. You could just hear every one of them. It was, and the camera's right there.
Now-
you can see it. Google it, kids. Another one. If you're a
While
kid in
we're
school
on-
and you want to see someone nearly die,
While we're on
Google
fire-
Yeah, do
Overeach.
it, do it
Overeem.
while you're at school, though.
Do it while you're at school.
It's been a minute since we've had a good prize fight in the boxing, but we've just had one of the biggest, arguably,
did we really?
in a decade.
Who's the fighters?
Terence Crawford defeated Errol Spence Jr. Now both.
I
these,
don't know who these guys are.
Oh really?
No, don't know who
see,
they are.
both of these guys were undefeated,
Yeah, okay.
and about 4 years ago they made $1 million bet against each other. So
Whoa.
this is a long time beef.
Okay.
Both undefeated. Crawford's a little bit older. Errol's a bit more of the young punk type archetype, if you will.
Yes,
And Terence
yes.
is a bit more of the reserved type. They both walked out with rappers, which I loved.
I know
So-
one of them walked out with Eminem.
That
Who
was-
was the
that
other
was
one?
Terence Crawford.
Who was the other rapper?
It was a guy from Texas, a big guy, and he was just rapping about how he's from Texas, which was honestly dope as fuck.
Okay, I'm trying to think of rappers
It was
from
very,
Texas.
very cool. So, yeah, they both came out to rappers. I was hyped.
Yeah.
Fantastic fight, but Crawford absolutely tore him apart.
Okay.
Tore him apart. So this has been hyped for a long time because they are both elite guys, and, yeah, Crawford just ran through him. Absolutely ran through him, knocked him out in about the 8th or 9th round, I think.
Literally never heard of these blokes, but yay for them.
Undisputed. He's now the undisputed welterweight champion
All right.
at 66 kilos. So they will both likely go up because they have. There's no
They've
one
cleaned
in,
out
there's
the
no one
division.
in that
Yeah, yeah,
division.
sure.
They'll both likely go up. Jamel Charlo, they could go up against, who Tim Zhu is also supposed to fight. So maybe he would be in the running against one of
you
these
could
guys.
get involved, yes.
Canelo Alvarez is close to
that
that
guy
weight
I do
division.
know. I do know who
He's
Canelo Alvarez
one
is.
more higher, but Canelo can come down.
All right, so there's a couple of potential
Tim
matchups
Tszyu has
there.
already said that he would rather fight Spence Jr. out of these two.
All right.
Yep.
That's if those two don't have a rematch.
Let's go,
straight away.
our Aussie boy. But is Zhu Greek?
No, he's
no,
Russian.
Russia? Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know that. Okay, nice. Controversial.
Costa Zhu is Russian.
Yeah. Either way, another Australian sporting star victory last night. The Matildas
The Tilds.
getting up
Tillies.
against the Canadians.
4-1, I believe.
Get a
No,
dog up,
4-0.
you Canada.
4-0. So they needed to win this because they were looking dicey.
Yeah, it was a good
That loss to
performance, though.
Nigeria was bad.
Yeah, I didn't watch the Nigeria game, but I did watch
Yeah.
this one. And I got to say, love the classic Brexit 4-4-2 formation
good,
that the
good.
girls were rocking with there. Fantastic. No need to reinvent
And
the wheel.
did Sam Kerr
4-4-2.
come off the bench?
No, she didn't.
No,
Didn't
She
and
stayed on the bench.
There's
okay.
a thing in the contract that people don't realise as well. If she has
This
injections,
is a Chelsea
it's
contract.
a Chelsea
Yes.
contract, which, let's be honest, pays the most.
Yes.
If she gets injections, she's basically that contract is
Now
null
you
and void.
mean like a pain
Yeah.
injection or
So,
an
which,
anti-inflammatory
hey, happens
injection?
for players all
Yep.
the time. It's not uncommon.
Common practice nowadays.
Yes.
But if that is happening and she's playing for Australia, her contract is null and void.
Really? So her Chelsea contract is null and void.
If she
Yeah.
gets injections.
So in other
okay.
words-
I wonder why that is.
Well, because they don't want her going and playing under duress for anyone but themselves.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
that's odd.
Well, think about it. If you're having injections, you're clearly not right.
Well, I'd like to see if many male players have that same.
I'm sure they would.
That same thing.
I reckon there'd be
Interesting.
something like that.
Interesting.
There'd be
Probably
something
be
like
more.
that.
Now,
if anything.
this game is obviously big in the media because the Matildas are into the round of 16, but it's also in for an interesting moment that happened, and we do have some audio here. So see if you can catch what this Canadian player is saying after a foul.
Come off worst. What happened? Lunch, Lady Doris.
Oh no, that's the wrong one.
Oh, you've cooked it,
Here we
Corey.
go. Here we go. Here we go.
Brisbane.
So the foul is happening now.
Australia's 2-goal hero has come off
You
worst.
fucking jumped into me, you twat.
Oh God! So it's the Canadian lady that says
Chapman,
twat.
yes.
I didn't know. Well, I didn't know the Canadian said. Did she pronounce it twat or twat?
It's twat.
She
they
said
say.
twat. That
Yes.
means vagina.
It does. Yes.
That means vagina.
very
Like,
unbecoming
and
of
she
a
said
young
it
lady.
Very, well, like you,
She said it to the coach.
I don't know why. Like, why would you say twat?
Now I think that's because Canada has a different UK influence than we do. It's more of a heavy Scottish northern type influence, whereas our UK influence is all but drowned out by our extreme Aussiness.
Yes.
So that twat thing is
Twat.
It's like a direct English thing. I think.
Yeah. Whereas if an English person was saying it, they would say twat.
Yeah.
Like you're a twat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just the way that she says it's very
Oh, I
bizarre.
loved it. It was very high
So
energy.
in the footage, she's not saying that to the player that she fouled. She's screaming it at the coach on the sideline.
Yeah, that's spicy. That's very,
Very good.
spicy.
Very
but
good.
let's go, Matildas. Getting around our girls, and it's great to see how packed the stadiums are and how much viewership the Women's World Cup is getting. It's
And
awesome.
while we're on soccer, last week we were talking about Mbappe.
Kylian
Kylian
yes.
Mbappe and
Yes.
the potential Saudi move.
The Saudis.
There has been progress on this.
Yeah, go on.
He refused to meet them.
Excellent, Kylian.
Turned
well
it down.
done.
So
That's
a
dumb.
billion. That's $1 billion odd that he was standing to
it's
make.
not dumb, Joel.
Yes,
it's,
it is.
It's why is
Nah,
it
it's
dumb?
not dumb.
$1 billion.
He doesn't need it. He doesn't need the money.
He can still get $500 million and play in wherever he likes.
He's already
He's
got
only
all
going
the.
to do it for a year to bank the $1 billion, then go
He
off and
doesn't want to
whatever
do that.
wants.
He wants to play at the highest level against the best
Yeah, he has to
opposition.
do it for a year.
He doesn't. Well, he doesn't want to.
When you're already
he's in-
worth hundreds of millions of dollars, it doesn't matter.
He's
could
in
be
the
worth $1
prime.
billion.
He's in the prime of his career, and he wants to win a Champions League.
I'll do
and
it for him.
He wants to play against the best opposition because he is arguably the best player in the world, along with Erling Haaland. And he wants to go to Real Madrid, but the rumours are there are Premier League teams circling, but the go is Real Madrid want him. He wants to go to Real Madrid. They want to make it happen, but PSG want to get as much money as they can out of that deal, hence the Saudis. And I have picked a Saudi Arabian team to support.
good.
It is Al Ettifaq,
Al Eltifak.
managed by the great Steven Gerrard.
good.
Yeah, of course. And he's also gotten former Liverpool captain Jordan Henderson to take the Saudi money. Yeah, of course. And they'll go over together. The
Love
Scousers,
it.
not speaking a lick of Arabic, going over to play for Al Ettifaq. So let's go. Inshallah, Al Ettifaq will win the Saudi Pro League in the coming season. I expect you boys to pick a Saudi team
I
as
will
well.
pick one, yes.
Yes.
I will.
You gotta pick
Actually,
one.
I think I'll just go with Al Hilal.
Yeah, is that the one that...
That's the one that was offering Mbappe the money.
Yeah, I forget who they've got. I think they've got N'Golo Kante and Kareem Benzema, I
Good,
think. So they've
good.
got
Love those guys.
They've got some Saudi boys.
Love
And you
those
all
guys.
need to pick a Major League Cricket team
Oh, good.
to go for as
oh,
well.
No, I want the porpoises. Is it the porpoises?
No, the
Oh,
Orcas.
fucking
The Orcas.
over.
Okay.
I've
We're a
already,
bit late for this.
I've already, yes. Who are you picking, Joel? Who's your MLC team?
Oh, the Orcas.
Yeah, we're gonna.
okay.
So we've adopted the
The Orcas.
Seattle Orcas.
But
you know,
we've
Mitch
done
Marsh
it a
is
bit
on their
late.
list.
Yes.
Mitch Marsh plays for
It's
them.
why I
almost
like them.
over.
Yeah, is it what? Is it already over?
It's the finals right now.
Is it really?
Interesting.
Fuck. How
Now-
are the Orcas going? Are they winning?
Look,
We'll see.
Oh, well,
We'll
I have
report
no
back.
idea the finals are on.
next week we'll
So,
go
What
over
a
it.
short season.
Last week, if you
Go the
cast
Orcas.
your mind back... Oh,
Sorry,
good
that's
Lord.
that's my
more
orca
of a
noise.
dolphin.
They said, oh no, Orcas are like,
I don't know if orcas make a noise.
they click. They
Okay.
do it. They do like a click. They're like,
Interesting.
yeah. That's
So
my orca
last
noise.
week, if you can cast your mind back, I was engrossed with the All-Ireland hurling grand final.
Yes,
So we were
to be
talking
sure.
about hurling a little bit. Now, this week is more Irish news.
Yeah, go on.
It's the All-Ireland Gaelic football grand final.
I think I saw a highlight pop up of this or two.
Now, this is the closest game in the world to Australian rules football.
Yes.
But still very fucking weird.
Yeah, it's super weird.
Dublin beat Kerry 115 to 113.
Yeah, because they don't show the scores
No.
properly.
So
Yes.
it's essentially 2 points.
Yes.
And those 2 points were scored in the dying seconds of the game. And, But I've got some audio here. But before we play it, it's interesting to note that Dublin County has 1.3 million people. Kerry has 140,000.
Whoa, okay, yeah.
So it's a
underdogs
bit of
here.
you would think it's a bit of an underdog story, but Kerry is the most accoladed team in the league.
Okay.
Even with their small county, which is interesting.
All right,
But
okay.
This game was very, very, very hype, and this is the last 10 seconds of the game and the siren and the scenes.
Massive kick from a massive player and a massive score, and they go 2 clear.
Yeah, he doesn't miss them there. A great score. They've given up the kick out. As expected, they've got loads of bodies. James McCarthy is sitting right back in front of David Clifford now.
The 6 minutes are over, it is all over, and Dublin are All-Ireland champions again for the 31st time.
The 34th time.
The third quarter push, Kerry did that. Dublin did the fun.
Very, very hype. The 34th time that they've
34th
won it.
time.
They're very thirsty on a 34.
So does that mean it's the 34th time they've won the league?
I believe that's what he was saying.
That's
yes.
imagine getting 34 flags
Yeah.
if your team got 34.
Dublin
I'd be
are a
happy with
powerhouse.
one.
You'd be happy with one with the Saints. Imagine if the Saints.
And,
I
I-
think Colling would have lost 34 flags.
I scrubbed my way through their game. It's a very hype, very hype game.
I love the way that they don't bounce the ball; they kick it to themselves.
Yeah, I like it.
Super cool. Super cool.
So in other news, we've got Russia and Belarus are predictably out of the Paris 24 games.
Yeah, well-
Russia has been the last few
I
Winter
think
games.
Russia should host their own Olympic Games.
Well, they did the winter ones.
Yeah, but no, they do.
That's what kicked off the
No,
whole
they
fiasco.
host their own Summer Olympics, but everyone's allowed to dope. Everyone's
good.
allowed to
Very good. I'm
inject
into
as
that.
much
Might as well do
steroid.
it with
Now,
China.
interestingly,
Russia, just the Russia-Chinese Olympics with nothing but drugged up, roided, big traps, weightlifters.
now this
in
is
every event.
this is somewhat of a misnomer, but people don't quite fully understand this for the most part. The athletes are still going to compete, which they always do,
but under a different name.
under the banner of the Independent Olympic Athletes.
Oh, that's happened before.
Yeah, it happens every
Okay.
time. So
All right.
you're not allowed to fly Russian flags. They don't play the anthem, and in the opening ceremony, you wear grey tracksuits and come in at the back.
The neutral team.
Yep.
The neutral team.
So unless
I win the gold medal, tell my wife hello.
unless you're an athlete that has a specific doping allegation against you personally, you are allowed to compete, just not under the Russian banner or the
Okay.
Belarusian banner for that.
the Belarusian banner.
manner.
What is the Belarusian flag? What are they, just like a red, yellow,
green, red,
Yes,
and
green and
white.
red.
Oh, they got a green. That's
And
a
I
nice
think
little
they
exotic
do have
flag there.
somewhat of a little.
Do they have hot tennis players?
Icon?
They do.
They do. Joel, do you know any hot
Sabablanka.
Saba, is she Belarusian?
Sabablanka.
She is.
Sabablanka. Well, Sabablanka, I hardly
I've
know
got
her.
some world news as well.
Go
just
on,
off the
Joel,
back,
yes.
So I'll run through it super quick. The World Dwarf Games are on at the moment. So
What? The Dwarf
Jesus.
Games?
Jesus.
This is hot
Christ.
reporting, Joel. Talk us through the World Dwarf Games.
So they run from the 28th to the 5th of August.
I thought that would be in the Paralympics. I
No,
thought
no.
that. Do they get their own?
Yeah, they get their
Yeah,
own.
they get their
That's
own.
sick.
So there's 500 athletes in 20 countries.
I would hope. Do they have? This is what I would pitch for the World Dwarf Games. Have dwarf commentators as well, if
I'm
they
sure
don't
they do.
Well,
already.
you have to.
Get Peter Dinklage as a correspondent.
So we've got sports like archery, badminton, basketball.
Sorry, it just sounds really funny.
Basketball. You can't have them playing.
You just bring the hoop down.
No, put it higher.
What other sports do they have, Joel? What other sports do they have?
Fuck me.
No, you can't say midget.
No,
you can't say
midget's
midget.
out. I thought dwarf was out.
Do they
I
have
thought we're
the-
onto little person.
Do they have
now.
the steeplechase?
I thought we're onto little person.
Do they have
Volleyball,
Do they have volleyball? Do they have
table tennis.
Do they have donkey races?
So Joel, why aren't you there competing?
Well, yeah, we could make you
We'll
the
send you.
prime dwarf athlete in the sports. We could go the pentathlon.
I'm actually about well, I think 4 inches too tall to be classed as
Oh,
one.
fuck.
You're just too high.
Yeah, I'm
Just
just
too
too
high.
high.
We could do some
Fuck,
surgery.
those little fuckers must
we could
look
do
up to
some
you.
surgery. I'm just thinking of
Jesus.
the best possible sports for the Dwarf Olympics.
You know, there's actually a bit of dwarf controversy going on right now.
What's that?
So you know how there's the Barbenheimer juggernaut that's happening at the moment?
Yes.
Later in the year, move over Barbenheimer. It's Wonkpolian time.
What?
There's a Willy Wonka movie coming out the same day as a Napoleon movie.
Wow, I like a Wonkapolian.
So we're
yes.
doing Wonkpolian. But
Yeah.
in the Willy Wonka movie, the trailer's dropped. And there's an Oompa Loompa.
And it's
being
played
by Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant.
Now, the little fellas are up in arms.
the union. Of
I mean,
the Lollipop Guild.
when you think of little people actors,
Peter Dinklage, you know?
no, let me rephrase that. Little people roles, the
Yes.
iconic role.
It's Oompa
is the
Loompa. It's the Oompa Loompa. Yeah,
And
that's
you've cast.
You're going
you've
to take
cast-
that gig. And yeah.
You've cast Hugh Grant, and it's not even Hugh Grant shrunk down with Hugh Grant proportions. They've shrunk him into dwarf proportions.
Yeah, they've just CGI'd his face
It
onto
is-
the Oompa Loompa.
It is very bizarre.
Then you'd be, imagine being like a middle tier
and I stand
dwarf
with
actor.
I stand with the little people.
Oh
in this
yeah,
one.
we stand with the little
stand
people
with
who
them.
have been denied these roles.
The Dwarf Olympics. I can't believe that.
That
Okay,
is,
I've got a
that's
couple
great.
others as well.
That's great reporting. We should. I want to watch some footage
I'll be
of
looking
that.
this up.
I want to watch some footage of
So
that.
the 18th World Championships of the Rock Climbing World Championships are on the moment.
Ooh,
Or about to start
okay.
Interesting.
in Switzerland. So they run from the 1st to the 12th
Rock
of
climbers
August.
are pretty psycho. They
Yeah, I
are.
bet
they're
they've been
nuts.
insufferable. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
The Swimming World Championships have wrapped up.
Yep.
Kaylee McEwen, our Aussie girl, won the gold in the 50, 100 and 200 backstroke.
Good on you, Katie.
She also
Stick it to him.
got silver in the mixed medley 4x100s mixed and women's.
Yes.
So she was named Women's Swimmer of the tournament.
Oh, very good. So
Um,
she's
and-
in prime form for the Olympics.
Yeah, and we also edged out the States for the first time ever on the medal
Yes.
tally, which is
Get
nice.
a dog up, you
Very
seppos.
good.
Get
But
a dog up,
somehow
you.
they still won team of the actual tournament, which was bullshit.
I think they got more medals total, but we
fuck
got
off.
more golds.
They did this, they brought up the rear.
No, I'm backing you here, Joel. They were wrong.
Water polo as well, which great sport.
Yeah, water polo is
the
cool.
first
I
time
do
ever-
find myself watching
I
it.
tried to play it once. It's fucked.
It's
so
super hard.
brutal.
It's
they,
super
they
hard.
kick you in the balls and shit, and you appeal to the umpire. The umpire's like, no, I
I
don't
didn't
care.
see it. It was underwater. I didn't see shit.
So for the first time ever at the World Championships, has been both games ended in a draw and decided by penalties.
Oh, hype.
So Hungary defeating Greece in the men's 10-10 and then 4-3 in penalties. And
No,
then
that's good to see Hungary winning something. They don't
Yeah,
win
love
much.
that.
No,
they
they're
don't
hungry
win
for
much.
it.
Shout outs to my partner Chloe, who is in Hungary right now.
Oh, she's in Hungary.
She doesn't listen, but I'll shout her out anyway.
Either way, I'm trying to think of who the most famous Hungarian is. We've done this with Welsh people on the pod before, and we could. The
Famous
only one I could think of was
Hungarian.
Tom Jones and Anthony Hopkins. Keep talking, Joe. I'm going to look up famous Hungarians.
Alrighty, so the women's, we've got the Netherlands defeating Spain 12-12 and then 5-4 in
This
penalties.
is still water polo.
Yep, so both of them.
Okay.
Nice.
interesting.
Okay.
And then one other last thing from me, I've got Alexi Popperin won a tennis tournament at 250. So it was a nice win over Stan Wawrinka.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
I like
Stan
that.
the
To win
man
his
is still kicking
second-
around.
yep, to win
Okay,
his second.
I've got some famous Hungarians.
Yes.
Get the fuck out.
Who? Who is
It
it?
says Drew Barrymore. I don't believe that.
No.
I don't believe that. Drew Barrymore's not
No,
Hungarian.
she's related
Google.
to Nicolas Cage.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she's
Maybe.
part of the Coppola clan.
Oh. Harry Houdini.
Oh, that's
one
a
of the
good
more
one.
famous Hungarians.
That's a real good one.
Keep going, Joel. I'll come back to you. I've gone to
Well, while
welovebudapest.com.
we're on tennis, I've got an interesting one. The Scud, Mark Philippoussis, the Pooh.
Oh, the poo.
The Pooh, if you will. I'm not sure if he likes that name, but, it is what it is.
Yes.
He's had a 4-month coaching ban and a 10,000 euro
What
fine.
was
did
he coaching?
What did the poo do?
He did a voiceover for a betting ad.
Oh no, they're insidious.
No,
These betting
you-
companies.
You can't do that, Mark.
can't do
You
that.
can't do that. And he won't be coaching for 4 months.
Would you know what his voice was, though, if it came up?
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Absolutely.
Because I wouldn't.
Now, to finish off, have got a very sad story, boys.
Oh no.
The running backs of the NFL.
Yes. So these are like the people who the quarterback can hand it off to
Yes.
run. Yes.
Now, they are all standing together in this tough time because their average salary has been going down in recent years.
Oh, no.
As the game of NFL is changing, passing plays are becoming the meta, and running backs have a short shelf life because it is the most brutal position.
Yeah.
Every time they get the ball, they get slammed. Their careers are not very long. Now, on average, they're being paid just $11 million a year.
How do you live off of that?
Just 11 million.
How on earth are you going to
My
live
heart
off of
bleeds for
them.
off of 11 mil?
They're standing together. They're trying to come up with a way to bring themselves back up. Now, these
Solidarity.
quarterbacks, they're getting 32 million. The wide receivers, 19.7 million. These poor fellas.
My heart fucking
11
bleeds.
This is a
million.
farce.
It
This
is
is a farce.
What can they do? Who knows? They're suggesting KPI bonuses, perhaps. A pool of money where if they hit KPIs, they can get a little bit
You
more.
need to hit the mark of, if you're not getting 2 concussions per game, that's not good enough. You need to bump those numbers
Now,
up. You
I
need to be
just-
getting 3 concussions a game.
I just wanted to make you guys aware of that because I stand with.
It's a bit. No, that's a cause that's clearly really close to your heart, Corey.
I stand with the running backs.
I stand with the running backs too.
No man-
Adrian Peterson, he was
no
very good.
man should be made to play 10 games a year for $11 million.
No
man.
That's
No man.
slave wages.
It
That's
is.
basically working
It
in a
is.
sweatshop.
It is.
Making iPhones. Ridiculous.
So I'll
NFL,
report back on the
Roger
plight.
Roger Goodell, it's not good enough.
I'll
all right?
report back on that plight.
So you've been put on notice, Roger Goodell. And with that, unless anyone's... Have you got any more midget news, Joel? Sorry, dwarf. Have you got any more dwarf news over there?
Well, I know Benry's getting cancelled after this.
Yeah, I can't say midget.
I do
can't
have
say
another one
midget.
that I really like.
Yeah, go on.
You know how much I love observing and stirring up conspiracy theorists.
Oh, for sure, yes.
So this
one
one,
of my favourite
this one came
pastimes.
up last week. LeBron James' son, Bronny James, great
Yes,
name.
great name. And he's a very good basketball player too.
He is, and he suffered cardiac arrest during a basketball
Yes,
game.
I saw this.
Now he's fine. He's fine. He's in a stable condition.
Yep.
He's fine. And oh my, did they come out of the woodwork?
Yeah, the cooker
How many
anti-vaxxers.
jabs did he get?
Oh, it's just people commenting
How many jabs?
with the sheep emoji and the needle emoji. They love
Cardiac
that.
arrest. This
They
has
love
never
that.
happened before. But I mean, there's many studies to prove that it has and will continue to happening because the leading cause of death in college athletes who die suddenly is cardiac
Yeah,
arrest.
pre-COVID, this was already the same
It has
thing.
been for decades.
And also, the same thing happened when Christian Eriksen, the player, he was playing for the Denmark national team, but he has
Yes.
played for Tottenham and for Man United. He went down with a cardiac event in a game.
Yep.
All of the cooker anti-vaxxers were saying, "Oh, this is the jab. This is the jab. It's gonna get. This is what happens when you get the jab." He hadn't been vaccinated yet, and when you tell them that, they don't like it. He was unvaccinated at the time. Please go do something else with your life if you are a COVID anti-vaxxer troll. So that will be the Barely Touched Your main episode podcast for the week. Thank you for listening.
Stay tuned for the tipping.
Stay tuned for the tipping episode, which is next. Also, mail us in your boys. Barely Touched Him on Instagram. We will listen to
And
you.
share it with a friend.
Share it with a friend. Give us a review. If you see us on the street, come and talk to us. We are about the general Perth metropolitan area.
Don't fucking
Corey,
talk to me, I'll deck
Yeah, Corey will deck you
No way.
and steal your darts. Have a good week, everybody.